Hello, ladies and gentle ladies. Welcome back to another railroad development stream. We're starting a little bit later today because I didn't have lunch. I said not lunch, dinner. I didn't have dinner until a couple minutes ago, so we had to start a little bit later than usual. But yes, we are back with another railroad development stream. And yeah, we're going to continue working on the Gradle stuff. I don't know how much more we have left to do. I don't think it's much at all, actually. Let me quickly actually open the Gradle project. Or I don't know what I'm on about today. The railroad projects. Let's actually try and open that first. So I've currently got the railroad Gradle plugin open, which we'll go over later. We're not going to use that right this second, but we are going to be using that in this stream, which is why I have that open. But if we open the railroad itself, hopefully we're on the Gradle tab branch. Yes, we are. And just give it a minute to build. I had to uninstall IntelliJ, so I'm not going to have any of my indexes anymore, so things are just going to take a little bit longer today, unfortunately. Whilst it faffs around. Maybe? Doesn't usually take this long, though. This is a little longer than there you go. Okay. So that's done. If we go ahead and I don't know if we can run it. I don't know if it's in a state where we can run it. I suppose we can try. Let's run it and see what happens. I don't remember where I last got to. So give it a second. There we go. It's running. Don't know where this has come from. That's interesting. Not sure where that's come from. Let's just open this. Okay. If we... yeah, we'll have to wait a second for that to do the Gradle stuff. Surprise stream? Bro, this is not a surprise stream. I stream every Saturday and Sunday at 7 o'clock. So yeah, sure, it's a little bit later than usual, but it is still somewhat on time. Though you did remind me, White, I do need to do stream notifications ping on Discord. Because I haven't done that. Alright, again. You thought it was Wednesday, bro. Bro, no way your sleep schedule is that bad. Okay. There we go. That's done with Discord. Good. Okay, so this is loaded, and last time we got work on the dependencies tab here. Now, I think we actually left a couple to-dos, if I recall correctly, so let's try and find those. I don't know exactly where we left them. I think it was probably on the dependencies this. Apparently not. I really thought it was. Is it in... not there. Is it in here? Yes. Okay, here we go. So these are the to-dos we have. And you see this one here is kind of the problematic one because we don't have the code available to do that, which is why we are going to be working a little bit on this today. Now, I've actually kind of already finished this. I just need to publish it and stuff. But basically, this will just be a plugin you can put in the build script, and it will do, you know, what you need to do. So we can get data about the project, so things such as the Java language settings, the modules, and the modules have all of this, and then that has all of that, and all of that stuff. Now, I don't know if in here I made it so... Yeah, so if I go to the implementation of this, you can actually see that we now do have a parent in the dependency right here. So that will be basically what we use, which is why we do need to actually use this today. I think it's done in terms of working done. I've also added things in here like downloading sources as well. That's now a task in here. And then I also did the fabric stuff, so I put the fabric data model in here. We can get like the stuff from the build script. And I've also done the same for Forge as well. At some point I'll need to come back and do NeoForge as well. It should kind of be very similar, but a little bit different. But yeah, that's all of that. So we are going to use that later. I think for now though, we can actually go ahead and just do the ones that we can do, which is going to be these two. So don't show duplicate dependencies in the tree. Don't show empty configurations. This is actually meant to be don't show duplicate configurations in the tree. We're allowing for duplicate dependencies because I think that makes more sense, but we don't want to show empty configurations. So as for why it currently shows empty configurations, I don't really know. And it is kind of very important that we figure out why. So we can see here we check if it's null. I think we can also just check or configuration tree dot dependencies dot is empty. And I think that basically is it. I don't think there was anything else for that one. We can check though. So if we run it again, see what happens. We shouldn't now have any empty configurations. Okay. We can check. Okay. So if we go dependencies, yeah, there's no empty ones, which is good. Okay, the other thing is, oh no, wrong one. The other thing is we don't want to show duplicate configurations. Now, I think we had these last time, but I don't remember where they were. Yeah, like these two. Right, oh no, those are different. No, there was some duplicate ones though. Do we have any in here? Maybe it was in the railroad project, not in this one. That's entirely possible. Because I don't see any duplicate ones here. Yeah, okay. There's no duplicate ones there. So if we go ahead and just close this, we'll rerun it. And we'll open the railroad project. And I think there were some duplicate ones in the railroad project. That might have actually been where the empty ones were as well. So we can double check that that has worked. But it should. There's no reason why it shouldn't. So we'll have to give it a minute. Go. Let it load everything. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Has it errored? It has. Concurrent modification exception. Interesting. Project nodes not compute if absent. What is project nodes? Where are you coming from? Here. Project nodes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We should be able to fix that by just making that a concurrent hash map. And that should do all the work in fixing that. Let's try it again. I'm pretty sure that will fix it though. Okay, so we'll open railroad again. Okay, and no. Yes, never mind, it did fix it. Oh, it's printing normal. Why is it printing normal? Did I tell it to bring them all? I think I did, didn't I? We don't want that though. So let's make it not do that. I don't know where we are doing that. I don't see it in here. It might be in here though. Maybe. No. Okay. That means it's probably in here. We go through here. No. Okay. Interesting. Oh, this is dependencies. Duh. Yeah, of course it's not going to be in there. It's going to be in here. Admittedly, I still don't see it in here. But I think it's probably in here. Yes, that's it. Okay, and then we can just straight up return that. Okay, that's fine. But that is not an issue. That's just that. Yes, so in here there are duplicate ones, as you can see. Now, actually, now that I think about it, these are not duplicates. These are actually going to be railroad core. So I think like this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one will be a part of railroad core. But because we're not displaying the projects, it shows us just duplicate ones. So that's fine. That's not really a problem because that's the next thing we can fix. So let's go into the plugin. Now I just need to get this published. I don't think... Oh, I have already added the repository. Okay, that's fine then. So this will just be 1.0.0. So if I just go Gradle, publishing, and if I go publish, that should publish it to the Maven. I just need to make sure actually things are going to open on. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that's finished. So if I now go to maven.railroadide.dev, and if we go releases, that's not correct. So it's just put it in railroad, which is interesting. I don't know why that happened. Why has that happened? I don't know, actually. I don't know why that's happened. Because the group is dev.railroadide. So, what the hell? What? One second, what I can do... I can look at the existing one. So if I open one that already exists... Let's see... Well, I don't know why that would happen, though. Oh, I should also probably plug my headphones in. I didn't realize they weren't plugged in. There we go. I did wonder why I wasn't hearing any sounds when I did anything. But there you go. So let's go try and find... Go with this one. Okay. So if we go in here... Ah, this is the ID. Okay, I see. That's going to do its thing. Whatever. We'll just let that do its thing, even though we're going to delete that in a minute. So this is actually needs to be dev.railroadide dot railroad plugin, I suppose. I don't really know. I think IntelliJ just has because obviously their plugin is called IDE, but I don't actually know what they call like the... Okay, they just call it IntelliJ Platform Gradle plugin is what they call it. So we could follow a similar name, like we could call it I'm also want to just call it like Railroad Gradle plugin, but I suppose that's a little bit deceiving. You could possibly think that's just a plugin for Railroad, for Gradle, right? I think we'll just call it Railroad Gradle plugin. That'll be fine. So let's go Railroad Gradle plugin. Actually, I don't know if that's correct. I mean, the artifact ID is going to be Railroad plugin. Probably isn't what we want either. We probably want Railroad dash Gradle dash plugin. In which case that means this ID probably shouldn't be that. You know what we can do? We can cheat a little bit. Not that much. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Codex where it will be located on the Maven after publishing. Because it can probably figure that out better than I can. I think it would end up being, if I understand this correctly, I think it would end up being dev.railroadid.railroadgradle plugin. Which we don't want, of course. So I need to double check that's correct. Where would this plugin be published to on the Maven? Let's see. Give it a second to read it and figure it out. So, the publishing blog in the build.gradle sends artifacts to 2 Maven repos. Yeah, that's fine. Coordinates for the plugin artifacts. Group dev.railroad.ide artifact ID force tweet railroad-plugin version 1.0.0. The Gradle plugin marker for the IED would also be published to that same repo. I don't know that that's correct, though. I think it's lying to me. But we can publish it and try, and if it doesn't work, I'll just delete the... We can just delete it, right? So let me bring the Maven back up and see where that's gone ahead and put it. So that has put it, hopefully, in here. Okay, there's 2. There's Railroad-Gradle-plugin, and then there's Railroad-Gradle plugin. This is .gradle.plugin. Where does that come from? I don't know where that's come from. Let's say, it seems... I mean, I know it's going to publish 2 artifacts, because one is the one you use as a plugin, and then the other one you use as, like, a dependency. So let's do this. Let's say what the 2 artifacts are, and can't even read the full name of this. So I'll just copy it from there. So one named that, and the other, or no, let's not do one named that. Let's do one located at. And the other located at... if we go here, we can see... Was it this one, the other one? Yeah. what? Let's just ask it what the difference is, and then it should be able to tell me which one's which. What is the difference, and can you fix the I'm just gonna say, can you fix it? I think it can probably tell from these two names that this one is wrong. So let's see what it says. Okay. It's probably a mix of multiple things. I suspect this is the primary issue, right? So I reckon that one is probably, if we look in here, I imagine that's this one. Because it says here dev.railroadid.railroad.gradle plugin, which is what we did here. And then I don't know why it's then done .gradle.plugin after that. Because that's obviously not ideal. Oh, right, it's complaining it can't connect to the network. That's correct, because I disabled network access. Yeah, and then this one, I mean, that one has to be this one, because that would be the correct name, right? So it's just a matter of getting the other one to have that correct name. Disabling automated publishing via Gradle plugin. Yeah, that's probably correct. So I think this plugin here automatically, it is what's automatically publishing that Gradle plugin configuration. So this one, that's being automatically published by this plugin right here. Disabling that could work, but I imagine the problem with disabling that is that then we would have to add it manually, which I don't suspect would work. I'm curious actually, what does IntelliJ do? Because we should be able to look at their build script. I can't imagine it's too complicated. If you look in here, build.gradle. Okay, it's quite complicated. Unnecessarily complicated, I would say. Yeah, I don't think they even have the default Gradle plugin publication. I mean, they obviously have a bunch of Kotlin stuff, so I don't understand any of that. If I can skip past that. Oh, they do. Here. Okay. Or what do they actually publish? Right. Okay. What does Codex said? There are always... Oh, it's actually made some changes. Name ends with plugin marker Maven. Dependencies. I don't think that looks correct. What has it said? Let's read what it said. There are always two coordinates for a Gradle plugin. The plugin marker, which is this one, and the actual plugin implementation, which points to that one. I set the implementation publication to that one. Okay. Rewired the marker to depend on the same thing. Okay. I don't know what the best solution is then. This has got multiple plugins apparently. A migration plugin, a module plugin, a platform settings plugin, or just settings plugin, I suppose. And then the base plugin. Interesting. Didn't know that. I was just thinking of the IDEA one. I don't know what the difference between the other ones is. What is this, I wonder? What is build logic? Don't know. I think probably unnecessarily overcomplicated, but who knows? Okay, let's see what this does, shall we? And then we can go from there. So if we get rid of railroad-gradle-plugin, confirm, and then get rid of... Oh, there's also this one. I don't know what that one is for. And there's also this one. Okay. And then we're going to delete all of these afterwards, because we don't want to have tons of these. It's not necessary. So let's see what this does. If we go ahead and publish now. Oh god. Yeah, it doesn't like that. But that's fine. Seems to have actually worked. So let's see what it's done. So now we have railroad-plugin and then railroad-gradle plugin. Okay, what's in each of them? The railroad plugin is 1.0.0 and railroad-gradle plugin is dev.railroadid.railroad-gradle-plugin.gradle.plugin. I don't imagine that's correct. That doesn't seem correct. But maybe it is correct. I mean, if I go like, not that one, the other one. Yeah, I guess that's exactly the same. So maybe that's correct. And then if that's correct, then we don't need to do all of this. This is just completely unnecessary. I think I can literally just do basically what we had before, actually. Can I get rid of that and do what we had before, which was this? And that's railroad-gradle plugin. Yeah. That's fine. So then if we just go ahead and delete these again. Boom. And then... Oh, also, whilst I'm here, I'm trying to see, is there any of these that I have forgotten to port over? No. Okay, I'm not going to delete them just yet, because obviously, if anyone tries to do anything once those are gone, then it's going to break. So I probably won't delete those until we've got rid of... Well, until we've updated the main branch, basically. But that's fine. So if I go ahead and publish now. Okay, and then if we go back to here again, reload, we now have railroad-gradle-plugin, and then we have railroad-gradle plugin, which I think is fine. We're always going to have two, no matter how we look at it. So it's not ideal, but I think it's fine. So we'll just go with that. Okay, that's good enough for me. So let me just go into here because we're going to want to include this in Railroad. So let's go back to Railroad. Build.Gradle. And basically, I can get rid of every single one of these. I can just do this instead, which is much better. Just make sure there isn't any other ones hiding in here that I put in the wrong place or anything. I don't think I did, but yeah, obviously eventually as well, we're going to get rid of the plugin API or do something with it. I don't know exactly what we're going to do with it, but that's fine for now. So if I go ahead and reload that, there we go. Okay, and then this is going to break a bunch of shit. So, well, kind of, I think. Because if we look at the scripts in here, they all reference this. But I think maybe we can just do this now. Wait, no, I guess not. Maybe, this? Wait, is that correct? That can't be correct. Let me have a look. So it's gonna be probably it's gonna be Railroad Gradle plugin. I'm not sure, to be honest. And then, yeah, this is the task that it runs. Now, this registers a new task. I don't think that's necessary. I don't know why it does that. Let me have a look. So, once the projects have loaded, it registers the root task. And then it configures them and say that it depends on the download dependency source's task. I don't think that's correct. I mean, this also isn't going to be correct. I mean, I think we can probably just get rid of all of these in reality. This one is a little bit different, and I actually haven't transferred this over yet. So I am going to have to do something about this. So project.task, for each task, it's reads the options. Yeah, so this uses option reader, which is actually an internal thing. You're not actually meant to use it technically, but I mean, it's fine. And then, yeah, it just puts those basically into that collected thing. Yeah, that's just a big map. Pretty simple, but that is how that works. I think we'll come back to those, and we'll deal with them a bit later. So let's close all of these. Okay, so obviously, as you can see, that broke everything. Now I think this just needs to be changed to railroad configuration. And basically, yeah, fix all of these to be railroad configuration. And then this will be railroad dependency. This will be railroad dependency. And those are all fine. And then these just need to be railroad dependency. This needs to be the git group. This needs to be git name. And this needs to be git version. Obviously fix those imports as well. And then this needs to be get children. And obviously it doesn't like that because this now needs to take in... Oh, it doesn't like that. Because that is actually a domain object set. So I think I can probably just make this a collection. Apparently not. Interesting. I forgot what a domain object set is. This. It is just a set, which is a collection. But I think the problem is because its wildcard extends railroad dependency. So maybe if I just do this, yeah, that works. This will then be configuration tree dot configuration. I think that's just the name. And then this is the dependencies. Now what I will do, very important, is put a var on this because otherwise that'll fetch them twice. Condition is always false. Yes, that's true. Because we need to put it here. That's why that's true. I do actually just want to say if it's equal null or that. It shouldn't be equal null ever, but I guess you never know. Too long, I'm assuming. Yes. Okay, that's fine. We'll do the project stuff in a minute. We should fix this first. So this is a railroad. Ugh. Railroad configuration. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. Now it doesn't like this because that calls get all configuration. So this now needs to become railroad configuration. And then what we need to do is this does project.configuration trees, which is a thing, but that's actually not a thing. Because if we go in here, this is actually now a railroad configuration. Now, technically, this isn't necessary anymore, I don't think. If I look at this, because all of this is going to be broken, of course. What we instead want to do is we want to get the new model. So we can do connection.getModel, and then we can pass in railroad project, I think it is. And that gets us the railroad project. And then from there, we can get things such as the modules, the language settings, all of that. So I would probably prefer to just store this somewhere rather than storing the Gradle build model. Although that has things like the Gradle version and the root directory, which I don't think we have from this. Yeah, we don't. Or do we? I'm just trying to think. In the Gradle project, we might have something similar. We have the build script. No, that's all we have. Yeah, that's all of that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we don't actually have any of that, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's fine. So we don't need to do this anymore. That gives us the root Gradle project, which is the project model builder. And this is what it uses to get the task argument. Now, I don't think we need that either. So... yeah, right, because that writes out that in its script. Which is the one for locating dependencies. And that's kind of technically correct. But I think we could probably write a better system generally to do this kind of thing. Like all of this, I think can actually be significantly replaced. So like, I think I can actually get rid of all of that. Replace this with railroad configuration. And then do railroad project. Yeah, a list of railroad configuration. Is that correct? Yes, because I think in here it has the parent. So in actuality, that would be correct. So that would be a list of railroad configuration, which is the not really the dependencies. It's just the configuration. I mean, do we even want to do that? Not really, to be honest. I kind of just want to pass, if anything. Like, we don't even care about root Gradle project anymore. Do we? Do we? No. And we don't really care about this. I don't think we need this task argument shenanigans either. So I think we can just get rid of that as well. Meaning we can get rid of those. And this will be, I guess, railroad project. And then we can just pass projects, which is what? Nope, we don't care about that either. All we actually want to pass in here is that. That gets the path. Yep, don't want that. That's fine. And then this just takes in railroad project instead, which is the project. And that will just then be railroad project. And as you can imagine, this is going to break absolutely everything, but that is as expected. So this will now have to take in the railroad projects. And this will now have to not be this. This will now be a path. I actually don't even know if we need this path, which is the project directory. I don't think we actually need that, though. Yeah, we actually don't. So we can just save delete that. even better. So we don't even need to map the projects anymore. So in actual fact, this doesn't need to really exist. Yeah, actually, this doesn't need to exist. That can just go. This entire class can just get absolutely yeeted off into the Shadow Realm. So let's go in here, and I think it's in here. Yeah, gone. Fantastic. So we can just delete that. Lovely. Look how much better that is. We can get rid of this. This is fine. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. Yeah, we can get rid of that. 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 I think that also means, yeah, we can get rid of that. I think this is still used. Yes, that's used in there. That's fine. But already that is so much easier. That can go as well, of course. And yeah, that's everything in there. No, see, that's going to cause us a bunch of issues. And kind of the biggest one of those is going to be the fact that... Also, what is this? And why is this here? Can I get rid of this? No. That's the AI thing, right? Yeah, how do I get rid of this? Can I get rid of this, please? I really don't want this. Apparently not. Lovely. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, most things are going to be fine, but a lot of things are also going to break. So, like, for example, this doesn't need to exist anymore. I don't think. I'm trying to think what this is for. But no, this doesn't need to exist. Goodbye. And this doesn't need to exist. And this doesn't need to exist. We are actually going to break a lot here. This is going to end up being an entire rewrite of the Gradle system, which I literally just wrote. So that's lovely. This will just be a... Yeah, so a Gradle task, I don't think is something we actually have. Yeah, not really. Like, that's not something we have in... Oh, let me close that now. In here, we don't have a Gradle task, but we probably should. So let's have a new class, which will be a interface, and this will be a railroad Gradle task, which will extend Gradle task, which basically has all of those shenanigans, so that's fine. Don't think that's a thing. Yeah, that's no sources for this, unfortunately. That's fine. And that needs to exist so that we can have the arguments as well. So this is the point where I'm going to have to get up desktop and see what I got rid of, so that we can add it back, kind of. So we can create a new interface, which would be a Gradle, a railroad Gradle task argument. And this will not be a hierarchical element, I don't believe. Neither is this. Where it has get project in the super, one thing we probably want as well is a railroad module. Get module, so we know what that belongs to. Yeah, so we need a bunch of things in here. So we need a string. Oh, well, yeah. First of all, we probably want a way to get the task. Then we probably want a way to get the name. So string get name. Then we're going to want the type, which we'll do in a second. We're going to want a default value. I'm not sure this even actually works. If that part even works, I don't remember. But string default get default value. Not sure that one works. We'll have to come back to that in a minute. String get description. And then we're going to want a list of string, which apparently is enum values, which is for when the type is an enum. I'm not sure that's necessarily true. So this needs a type. The other thing also is apparently it needs a display name. So string get display name. And then we want the type, which will be a Gradle task argument type, get type. And this will just be, I don't know where we're going to put this, to be honest. I suppose we'll just put it in here. Public enum. So what are the types that's put down? So apparently the ones I had previously were string, boolean, enum, file, directory, and number as well. So that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that gets the task, and then what we want is a... I don't suppose... I want to see, actually. No. Okay. In that case, we also want to implement hierarchical elements. And then I'm going to have a domain object set of question mark extends Gradle. No. Railroad. Gradle task argument. Yeah, arguments. Okay, then we're going to want an implementation of this, of course. So let's go in here, create a new class, which will be a basic railroad Gradle task, which implements railroad Gradle task like that. Boom. Lovely. Okay, so this will pass in the module, first of all. Module. And then it's also going to need to pass in the actual Gradle task itself, which I think is actually a thing, which will be basically the delegates. We'll make that final as well. Okay, this will just be a module. We'll do arguments in a second. This will be delegate.getProject. This will be get module. This will be get arguments, like that. Oh, that's not going to work, of course, because those aren't hierarchical. Okay. We'll make them hierarchical then. That's fine. So this then implements hierarchical elements, and not implement it, extends, and we'll just do a default method, which will be get children, which will return domain object set. No, I think it's actually immutable domain object set dot of. Never mind, it doesn't like that. Can you not do just like an empty one? No, apparently not. Okay. Fine. Fine. What are you complaining about? That's fine, no? Oh, right, because I haven't specified the type, which is a hierarchical element. It still doesn't like that, though. Do I need to do this? And then that just complains about... Sure, I think that will work. That's fine. Probably not exactly how you meant to do it, but it's fine. Okay, so we need to do delegate.getPath, delegate.getBuildTreePath, delegate.getName, delegate.getIdentifier, play name, description is public, and get group. So all of those just go to the delegate. That's fine. Then we're going to have to do get arguments. We'll do that in a second. We can deal with that later. Okay. Fantastic. Let's just suppress warnings. No, it's incubating. I don't know how you do the incubating. Oh yeah, it might be that incubating API usage. No. Definitely not that. I don't know how you do it. There's definitely a specific suppress thing. Maybe it's just suppress warnings incubating? I don't know. It doesn't like that. There's definitely a way to do it. I'm just going to have to ignore it. No. Okay. Unless I can do it through here. Aha. Yes, there you go. So it's just unstable API usage. Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's fine then. So then what we can do is we can make a railroad module have a list of tasks. So that will have a domain object set, extends railroad Gradle task, get tasks, and then we'll just have to go into here, and we're going to have to override the task shenanigans. What is task? Yeah, that's fine. So that is gonna obviously cause a problem because we only have task. But in somewhere in here I think. I did there. That creates a basic Gradle chapter. So then what we could do, we could return. Yeah, okay. We can cast this basically. So we can cast get Gradle project, and then we can just do get tasks, and then we can stream and map that, and then collect that. Not like that. Not how you're meant to collect it. Just look what I did in, not in here, in here, this. Or I could even, to be honest, you know what would be better to do is make this implement railroad Gradle task. And then all that means so like this is get tasks. I think that still exists though, doesn't it? That has Gradle tasks? No, I'm not sure. Wait, what did this have before? Oh, that implements Gradle project. Oh, right. Okay, I went into the wrong thing. I meant to go into this. I meant to make this implement railroad Gradle task like that. And then that just means that this can now return the module. That can just return get module. That can return get arguments. Okay, this is a Gradle project adapter. This isn't hierarchical though, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. So then we just pass in that to here then. Right, so basically in somewhere here we pass in. So that's adapter for the project. So we'll probably do this, which allows us to do a railroad module. Then we do private final railroad module. Boom. This needs to also take that in. Railroad module. Not sure this one's even used, is it? Don't know. Apparently it is, which is interesting. This dot module. Okay. Which kind of fixes that problem. And then all I have to do is when we get the tasks, wherever that is, I can't find it. There it is. We can just pass that into here as well. So we can pass in this dot module. And then we can do railroad module, and private final railroad module. We're slowly getting there. Don't know why it tried to do that. Okay, Copilot, sure. And then this can just return module. And hopefully that fixes all of our errors. So, as a matter of fact, all then we need to do is stream and cast it. So we cast that to a array Gradle cast, not class, colon, cast. And then just do that. Technically that like that, I guess. Sure. That's technically correct. Okay. I downloaded Railroad and it's stuck on gen sources. Yes, I am aware of this issue. And no, I have not fixed it. Because I don't know what caused it. And I believe because we had an issue made for it, and if I recall correctly, I never responded to it. But basically there was a fix, but apparently it caused a new issue. But yeah, that hasn't the issue hasn't been updated to reflect that yet. I can actually try and see if I can find the thing. Yeah, there's a few things that need to be looked at the moment, but I don't have the time at the moment. So, anyways, let's continue because, as I said, I don't have much time at the moment. So I want to get this done today. Tomorrow I want to do something different because I'm not going to be able to do anything else until Saturday next week. So hence I want to try and get things done a little bit faster. So yeah, fine. I think this is all fine. Let's just do a project build so we can see if it compiles right now. It does. But obviously the arguments aren't going to work, so we need to implement that. Now, I don't know exactly how we do arguments, so we can do, obviously, delegate. Yeah, I mean, I think since we have a delegate, we can use the option reader. So if I quickly go ahead and look at the thing in Railroad. Just close all of these for the minute because we're not going to use them right now. So basically this, I just need to write this in Java, not Groovy. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this over to my other monitor so I can reference this and figure out how to translate it to Java, which might be a pain in the butt. So first of all, we need a new option reader. So we can do option reader dot new. Okay, like that. And then that's not a thing. Apparently we can do option reader dot get options, and that just passes in the task, interestingly enough. Now let me just have a look at what the task is, if possible. Would be nice. Doesn't look like I can, but so it uses project.tasks, which is a task container, which is a collection of org.gradle.api.task, which I think is what this is. No. Wait. No. It's not. This is an org.gradle.tooling.model. I don't know if they are interchangeable or not. I'm going to imagine probably not. Let me have a look for task. I mean, maybe they are. We have a better luck trying to find it in here, though, admittedly. So if we go all files, and then, yeah, this one. So this is not the same as a Gradle task. Yeah. Okay. And I don't suppose... Yeah, so these are like the actual like Gradle task, like the task. I don't know how we would even figure that out, or if that's even possible. I imagine that's not possible. Let me do a quick Google. I don't know if this is gonna find what I'm looking for. Okay. And if I try maybe search for... This isn't going to give me what I want, I don't think. Because I think the problem is the problem is the tasks that we have are only the metadata about the actual tasks, not the task themselves. I mean, maybe... I'm gonna quickly just ask ChatGPT, actually. Hello, Fortnite. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Let's see how much progress I can get with ChatGPT. It's probably not going to be helpful either, but... Because generally I find that AI doesn't know anything about build systems, but... Or at least it's not in any layers of depth. Okay, let's see what it says. Meanwhile, that's doing that. I mean, if we look at get options here, problem is it just takes in an object, or at least as far as we know. I suppose in reality this is probably a groovy file, right? So as to option elements, I think it's highly improbable that we can use this, because this is from the Gradle API, but the API isn't actually the same API as what we're using to get the task. Because oh, wait, what? Wait, this is... Wait, that's not right. Is that right? Holy shit, wait. I may have just... We have the right task. Wait, let me just look at this. Yeah, we already have the right task. I don't know why I thought we had a different one. I thought we had... I think because this extends Gradle task, which is this type of task, but that's not the task we're actually using as a delegate. As a delegate, we're using the org.gradle.api.task, which is actually the one we want, funnily enough. So this is actually fine then. That means that we can actually just pass in this .delegate. And what does that return us? A map of string to an option descriptor. So if I do .var, that'll get us the options. And then that's basically like what we want. Now, I don't know if we need to use reflection to get the actual data about the task. Let me just check what we did in Railroad, because I'm not sure. So apparently it has an argument type in there. Let's try and do this and see what happens. Have you touched AHK before? No, I don't know what AHK is. Auto hotkey? Is that AHK? I don't know. I've never heard of AHK before. Okay, I haven't used auto hotkey before. No. I do not know anything about it. Okay, so this is just the Gradle... no, this is a Railroad Gradle task, which is the Gradle task. And then this is the option. Okay. And it doesn't like that because... I think because it needs to be the other way around. So I think we need to do this and then collect that. It doesn't like that either for some reason, but I think that's correct. Probably because this doesn't implement a Railroad Gradle task argument. Railroad Gradle task argument, which it needs to. But... and then have these as fields. Boom, boom. What's going on right now, Wide? We are trying to get the arguments that Gradle tasks have and store them inside of the Gradle task. Pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know if that's a thing. Yeah, that's not a thing. I didn't think that was a thing. I think I'll just do get name for that one. And then argument type, I don't... Let's see what we have. So if we do option... Yeah, we can actually get the argument type, and then I guess we can just check what the class is, right? Why are you making a Gradle plugin? Basically, why? Because we need to get information about the project that Railroad has opened, right? So we have to make a plugin and then insert that plugin into their build script so that we can get that information. That's basically why we have to make a plugin. It's clashing. What the hell does that mean? Interesting. Don't know why that's a thing, but sure. So yeah, that's why we need to make a Gradle plugin. Which is, yeah, the best way to do it. Okay, what we could do, I don't know if necessarily using an enum. I think what we should do, where we have this type here, we should make this nullable. Like that. And then instead, we should have an alternative, which will be just like a class. Which directly will get us the type of the argument. So we're not going to, like, you know, if this is null, we can still handle the argument because we have the actual class that it is. I think that's a better solution. So that allows us to then, if we override get value class, we can do option dot get argument type. And then basically this will return a switch on get value class, which, yeah, basically does this. So int long, double, float. We want a couple others as well. So we want short, we want byte, char as well. Technically, there's no reason why not char. Have I missed any? So why are these complaining? I don't know. I think that's fine. I don't know why it's complaining. Have I missed any? Int, long, double, float, short, byte, char. I think that's all of them. And then we go string. I mean, we could do like a char sequence here, I guess, but like, I think that's fine. And then let me just look at the other options because there were some other ones. So you've got enum as well. So enum. We can do we can accept a file or a path. I don't know if we should also maybe accept a like file property. I don't know exactly how those work, so I'm gonna say probably file property. No, not that one. Yeah, like this, like one of these. I mean, maybe. I don't know exactly how those work though. That has like a regular file. is a directory, which is a file system location. I mean, maybe. Maybe? I mean, I don't know. Why is it complaining about that? That's what I already have, bro. Why are you doing that? Okay, whatever. I think that's all of them though, right? Oh, I guess there's also directory. Wait, what did I do in before? Okay, I didn't. I just never handled directory. I don't know why that's a thing then. Yeah, that's kind of silly. Wait, maybe not. Let me have a look. I mean, the other option, of course, is that we do use reflection. Because when you have an option, I think you annotate it with option. Yeah, you have, I don't know that's the right one. I mean, I know you have this one. Maybe the other one's this one? Oh no, maybe it's... I don't know. But I remember that is a thing you can do. You also have, oh, I don't know. I haven't done a huge amount with options themselves. Why is this complaining? Because require type class capture of... Interesting. Can I just do... like that, maybe? Or like that? Or like that, maybe? Like, is there a way to... It doesn't like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Why? Why is that not a thing I can do? Do I really have to do an if statement? I don't want to have to do an if statement. Get value class. I mean, it's just a class, like... I don't know why it wouldn't like that. Also, I don't know what this was in the old one. Let me have a look. Oh, it was always just an empty string. It was actually always just an empty string for some reason, which is interesting. What I can actually do, it might be better to do an if statement anyways, because then we can handle some things a little bit better. So yeah, like this basically, and then we can also just do argtype dot is primitive, which will just tell us if it's a primitive, right? Because other than booleans, you only have byte, char, short, int, long, float, and doubles. So that will be fine. And then we can do, if it's an enum, so else if argtype, and then we can just do it, yeah, is enum, like that. Hello? Okay, that was weird. Then you got... Yeah, so we got number. The other thing we could do actually, so we can say is primitive or number.class that is assignable from, which means that that class inherits from number. Yeah, so we have string, then we have file and path, which is just file. I'm going to get rid of directory, that just doesn't need to exist. And then else we just have, let's have unknown. That does make sense to have unknown. Do that. And yeah, we can't convert that to a switch. I don't really know why, but sure. Default value doesn't need to exist either, so let's get rid of that. No, wrong one. That one. So then we can just get rid of that. Okay, get description. I think that is a thing, right? Yep. We can do is clashing as well. I don't really know what that is, but apparently it is a thing. Let's just make that actually return a set as well. And let's have Boolean is clashing. Maybe we can use it for something at some point, and it's just easier if we have it. So there's no reason to get rid of it. Might as well have it. So then we can use is clashing and just return option dot is clashing like that. Okay, and then we just need to return the parent, which would be the Gradle task. I don't think that will be null. It's not annotated as null in here. What we could probably do, actually. Oh, we do actually have get task. Okay, in that case, we can just return get task, which does that for us. So that's fine. Okay, fantastic. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's make that a record as well. Because this isn't going to be user-facing, so that's fine. Same with this, to be honest. That's not going to be user-facing. So that can be a record. This can be a record because that's not going to be user facing either. Clean things up a little bit. Same with this. Not going to be user facing. That will not be null, as it said. And then, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Why is this being used? Oh, okay, I see. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, the configurations are the children. They are children, but so are the tasks. So I think we can probably just combine them. So I don't know how you do that. Okay, and then Gradle tasks, and then basically, yeah, I guess we can just do something like that. Sure, that works. Okay, that's all good. So that just makes this not used, but that's fine anyways. Okay. That's fine. I did just want to check, actually. In here, when we do there, is there anything else like in here? No. Why? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Why would you compare them? Well, what is the implementation of this? Can we see that? How does it compare it? Compare to? Oh, it just compares the name. Well, that's kind of silly, isn't it? Option element. Oh, which is just... Okay, whatever. Whatever, that's fine, don't care. Right, I think that's everything. Let's just try and build it and make sure. Yeah, that built. Lovely. So then we can just go into the build.gradle and we can bump to technically I should bump by this, not by this, because you're meant to use the third one for bug fixes, the middle one for new features, and then the first one for complete rewrites. So I'll just bump by one of those. Did that work? I feel like that was way too quick to have worked. Let's have a look. So I don't think that did work. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. And it seems to have worked that time. Yep, there you go. Okay, lovely. So that's gone ahead and worked. So we can now go ahead and close this. Now I will just actually commit it to GitHub first. So just got to find it on my thing. Okay, I also... Okay, apparently... Okay, for some reason a bunch of it is trying to get committed. Don't know why. Do I not have a git ignore? I don't have a git ignore? Ah, that's why things are being committed that are not meant to be committed. Okay, I should probably fix that then. Okay, that should just get rid of everything that needs to be gone. Okay, let's just check that it hasn't done anything crazy. .gradle, fine. Build, fine. Subprojects, build, fine. Idea, yeah, that's fine. Fine. Yeah. Sure. That's alright. The only other thing we will do as well is... This is actually something we're going to have to start doing, which is kind of funny. But getting rid of railroad stuff as well. Because we don't want railroad project files included in the gits. So that's something we're going to have to start doing at some point. Making sure that's in all of our git ignore files. I've already done it for railroad itself, but yeah, for projects like this, we're going to have to do it there as well. Okay. So now I just need to make sure a bunch of this is not like all of these. I don't want to include these. I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna commit the things that have changed. And then... yeah, and then what I'll do is I'll delete the project off my computer, reclone it. And then that just means that I don't have to deal with all of these shenanigans. So, come on, Copilot, generate me a commit message. What are you saying? Gradle task and argument details. Sure. What's the 4? Okay, that's silly. Just get rid of that. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, whatever. Just get rid of that part. That's cringe. Apart from that, that's fine. Yeah, and then that's all the build stuff. That's all Gradle stuff. Okay, push that. The other thing we need to do is start using dev branches on the other railroad repositories. Like this one I'm just pushing to main, which isn't ideal. But yeah, for now, fine. Okay, that's good. I'm just quickly gonna plonk myself onto GitHub and just get rid of the things that I didn't mean to commit. So come on here. This is also actually private. I haven't made it public yet. I'll probably do that. I need to make a readme first, though. But anyways, that's it is. Yeah. Okay. This just needs to go bye-byes. Delete. All of those are fine. Commit. That's fine. Okay, build as well. That needs to go. Delete. And then idea. That needs to go. Boom. And I think everything else is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So then what I will do, and the reason I have done that, I'm not now going to pull that, because if I pull that, then it will actually go ahead and delete those, right, off my thing. In fact, I can show you, I guess. It will try and actually. I mean, first of all, I will need to discard all the changes, otherwise that's gonna conflict. But if I pull that, it's just gonna start deleting stuff, I think. Let's see. Did it? I think it will. I reload from disk. Did it not? I think it didn't. I think it actually didn't. Huh. I thought it did. I thought when you pulled things that you've deleted, it deletes them. It has, actually. It has. It's just left the other stuff, I think. And the Gradle tab is also gone. Can I get the Gradle tab back, please? No? There's no Gradle tab. Oh, because it doesn't think it's a Gradle project anymore. I need to do that. No, you can, right, I need to do this one. Okay, why is it not doing that, though? Okay, yeah, as I said, it's broken things. So, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So, like that, boom. Gone. And then just clone again. Okay. And then if I open that, open the build.gradle. Give it a minute. Okay, I'm also gonna quickly get a good old ChatGPT to make me a README. Because I'm lazy. And I hate writing READMEs, so... Come on, terminal? Anytime today, terminal? Thank you. Okay, it's still taking a while, but it is there you go. Create a README. Okay, good, good. It is actually reading things. I don't know if it's gonna like read everything. Surely not, because that will take a really long time. It's reading a lot though, like a lot more than I thought it would. Okay, we're gonna have to look at this before we commit this, because it might just lie and be completely incorrect. So, way to plug in that exposes project metadata to the Railroad IDE via the tooling API. Optionally downloads dependency documentation for sure. Sure, that's correct. Yes. Add the Railroad Maven to your repository. Yes. Apply the plugin. Yeah. I think that's correct. I think so. IDE models. Yeah. Yep. 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 That's all correct, actually. I'm surprised. Actually quite surprised that that was actually all correct. Have you had a good week? I have had a alright week. It's been very tiring because I've been getting up at like, well, on Thursday I got up at 10 to 4. No, 10 to 5? 10 to 4 or 10 to 5? 10 to 5, I think. And then and then yesterday I got up at 5. Today I got up at 1 in the afternoon. So but I'm gonna have to be getting up at like 5 every single day of next week, and then Monday to Thursday of the week after as well. So that's gonna be fun, I guess. I mean, it's not that bad, to be honest. It just means that, like, I have to go to bed so early. Otherwise, I just won't get any sleep. But apart from that, my week has been pretty good. Just very long days. Yeah, anyways. How long is the train journey? It's about an hour and a half, roughly, assuming there's no delays, of course. I mean, yeah, give or take an hour and a half, I suppose. Give or take like 20 minutes. So, it's not terrible. I don't have to get the tube, luckily, because that would be terrible. Really don't want to do that ever. So yeah. Anyways. I think we can get rid of all of these. I believe. Captured Loom version. Is this for if captured Loom version project? But why? Is this necessary? I feel like that's not necessary, but maybe? Maybe that might be necessary. This one just applies the plugin, so I don't think the ones that apply the plugins are necessary. I think. This one will also just apply the plugin. This one does apply the plugin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one can be yeeted as well. So I think all bar the fabric one can be deleted. Wait, I'm going to look at the Java one again, just make sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that can be deleted. So I think just this one. And I'm not 100% sure about it. Plugin management, resolution strategy. Yeah, so this basically intercepts the plugins, and I think I had to do that because you can't intercept plugins with a plugin. I think that's correct. So I think you have to do this. Which is why I do this, because this happens during the settings evaluation, which is the settings.gradle. So whilst it's basically reading the settings.gradle, or afterwards, I think it actually happens, then it looks through the plugins. Yeah, if any of the plugins are Fabric Loom, then it captures the version and it sets that as the Fabric Loom version. And then applies the plugin. I don't know, maybe there is a way though where that won't be necessary. I'm gonna have a quick well, I say I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Is it possible to... I don't think it's possible, because it doesn't really make sense to get the plugins in a plugin, because that plugin might be loaded after your plugin, so that wouldn't work. But we can have a look. Is it possible to get the plugins? What do I actually want to ask it? Is it possible to get the plugins of a Gradle project from within the plugin? From within a plugin. See what it says. Really? From inside a Gradle plugin, you usually have access to a project instance from that you can get the applied plugin. Project.get plugins. Is it lying? Is it lying to me is the question. I don't know. Not sure. Okay, well if that's the case, then we do need to actually go ahead and implement that, or this basically in here. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, but because if that's true, then surely it's exposed by the Gradle tooling API. Like if I go into this, if we look here, then surely I can just use the project, right? So the railroad project, and then I can just get the maybe not. Can I get it from the Gradle build? I mean, I can get the root project, so can I then just get the plugins? No, but I don't think, I think that's because it's not exposed. Like if I have a Gradle project, I can't do project1.plugins. I think I need to have a just normal project, I think. This one? Maybe? No. So it says from inside a plugin, you have access to a project instance. Let's have a look at what project instance we supposedly have access to. This one. org.gradle.api. Oh, interesting. So, because we can't get that inside of Railroad. Yes, correct. We can't get that inside of Railroad. And even when I think we have a Railroad project, we can't, not a project, I meant a Railroad module. We can't expose any of that stuff, so we can't get that. Like I can do this, but there's no way to actually get those plugins. So maybe we can go ahead and expose those as well. That might be a really good thing to do. If I look at this, that gives us a Railroad project. We could also then expose a domain object set !extends. I don't really want to do extends Railroad plugin. I guess we can do Railroad Gradle plugin. It's a little bit confusing, but I think that's probably fine. If we then go ahead and create that. Now, I don't know what this needs to be. Like, I don't know what we actually get. If we override get side plugins, yeah, we can do this. So that gives us a plugin container. Right, right. So get plugins gives us the plugin container. Then we have a plugin. So if we just pass that plugin in, and then also pass in this as well, and then create this in here, which implements Railroad Gradle plugin like that. Then we can just create that constructor. And apparently that's generic. Okay. And then we just want that just needs to be railroad projects like that. I think we can just call that project actually. No reason to do anything fancy. And then add the plugin as well. And then do that. And then, yeah, then we can just see what the plugin actually gives us. So it doesn't really give us anything, unfortunately. So like we have all of these plugins that you can get, which are like all of the default plugins, I guess. So I don't know if we can get a plugin by an ID. Plugins dot. Yeah, so you can find a plugin by an ID, which is interesting. I guess that means we can't actually get access to that then, can we? Maybe what we could do is we could have a method in, rather than getting the applied plugins, right? Because we basically can't do that, is what this is telling us. Is we could instead have a boolean has plugin, which takes in the ID. And then we can just say has plugin of that ID. Now, what do we actually do in Railroad when we get that plugin? What do we do? So details, what are you? I assume that's the actual plugin. So details.requested.id.id. Interesting. Let's see, I asked ChatGPT how I can replicate this in a Gradle plugin. I don't think it's possible though. Okay, that's what I thought. So you can only replicate that logic in the settings phase, which is what I thought. So it has to be in an init script, which is why I was confused, because I thought you couldn't get them during in a plugin, and it's because you can't. Yeah. Apparently you can create a plugin that targets settings, though? I don't know if that's true. I think maybe that's true. So apparently you can make a settings plugin. Let me have a quick Google and see if I can find a Gradle documentation page about that. Gradle settings plugin. Hello, Aleatorio. Welcome to the stream. So, see what it says. Okay. Trying to see. Does it say anything about? Aha! Here we go. So it does say here. This was defined against a project. They can in fact target 3 different scopes: project, settings, and Gradle. Each scope controls different aspects of the build cycle and represents an interface. Project applied to an individual project. Used to define build logic, register tasks, blah 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 blah. So that's what we already have. Settings applied to the build as a whole. Used to include sub-projects, configure plugin management, or define build script repositories. And then we got Gradle, apparently, which affects all builds on a machine. Commonly used to configure enterprise build tooling, inject repositories, or enforce conventions across builds. I've never heard of this in my entire life. I'm curious what these are for. Okay, I see. So it's basically like where you actually have the plugin. So like a project plugin sits inside the build.gradle. A settings plugin sits inside the settings.gradle. And then the Gradle plugin sits inside the init.gradle, which is where you put this inside of like, I think you put it in your Gradle user home, usually, or something. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. So you can make a settings plugin then, which is interesting. I don't know how you do that. Did I close Codex? I did. Damn. Okay, I want to ask it if I was to add a settings plugin to... Oh, oops, I opened this in the wrong thing. I wanted to go Railroad Gradle plugin. Okay. So not this one, it's in this one. I mean, this is still a thing we can have. Like, we can still have this as plugin stuff. That's fine. When plugin added, so you can like do things when certain plugins are added, which is interesting. But like, what does that do? Yeah, because that just gets you the plugin, but you can't do anything with the plugin. Which I guess makes sense, because that would kind of defeat the entire point. Okay. So I want to ask it How could I add a settings plugin? If I did add one, would it have to be published as a separate Maven artifact? That's what I'm more curious about. I assume it has to be a separate artifact and that it can't just like be the same artifact, right? But let's see what it says. Okay, you can add settings plugin under the same module you already use for the project plugin. Find another entry under Gradle plugins. Okay, and Gradle plugin will still build one implementation jar. It will also generate a tiny plugin marker module for each plugin ID. You don't need a new Maven module / artifact for the settings plugin unless you explicitly want to. The existing publishing block will publish the implementation jar plus 2 mark. Okay, so it does do 2 artifacts, but it's a single. Okay, I see. So it will add another marker artifact, but the actual main like implementation will still be a single artifact. That makes sense. That's kind of what I thought it might do. So I think this is actually what IntelliJ had, didn't it? IntelliJ had this. When I was looking at the build of Gradle, it had this, I think, unless I imagined it, but I think it did. If you look here, yeah, look, here you go. IntelliJ platform settings plugin. And so this is a project one. So these are all project ones. This is a project one. This is a settings one. So I'm curious what they use that for. I'm really, really curious, actually. So if we go, where even is that? IntelliJ platform settings plugin. Okay, let's just search for it, I guess. Here we go. Platform repositories extension. Ooh. Wait, this might actually be useful. Like, we might need this in the future. So, if I understand correctly, it's using this to get the repositories of a Gradle build. So you can actually get the repositories, which would actually be quite important in the future if we want to like resolve dependencies and stuff. We need to know what repositories you have, right? So wait, no, it can't be for that. Can it be for that? I think it can. I think that makes sense. So I'm curious, like, if we go to this, yeah. And this is all Kotlin, so I don't entirely understand what I'm looking at, but I think I am kind of getting the gist of what it is. As a repository for accessing IntelliJ platform stable releases. I don't quite understand what this is for. Like, what are they actually achieving with this? This is an extension class for managing IntelliJ platform repositories in a Gradle build script. Provides methods to add IntelliJ platform repositories. JetBrains marketplace repository for fetching plugins. JetBrains runtime repository. Android Studio and IntelliJ platform binary release repositories. I don't understand. I'm not wrapping my head around what it actually does. Like, what is the goal of actually doing this? Is it like... Maybe it's just used to like, for example, when you create a project through IntelliJ, maybe it uses this? But I don't necessarily think that makes sense. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Oh, now I'm curious. What do they have in here? Yeah, so it's like for adding plugins. But why would you want to do that? I'm just not understanding why you would want to do that. That doesn't make sense. Is there a reason you would ever do that? I don't know. I suppose there must be. They wouldn't have done it for no reason. I mean... See, I imagine this is the kind of thing where, like, far into the future, we realize, shit, we really need this. But, like, right now, I can't see what this is actually for. And why you would use it. I mean... If I understand correctly, when you import a Gradle project into IntelliJ, I think it has a Gradle process running the entire time that project is open. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But I think that might be what they do. And so maybe, if that's the case... then maybe that's what they use this for, right? Because it even mentions here about, like, reloading dynamic plugins. So if it's running the whole time, then that is something you would need, right? You'd need to be able to reload the plugins. So maybe that's what this is for, but I don't really know. Or, like, maybe this is just for, like, plugin development. Maybe. I mean, it could be. I don't know. Performance test? I don't know what this is. I don't know. I mean, it could be for so many different things, right? Because obviously IntelliJ has all these different things that are all like part of IntelliJ. Like you got, or part of JetBrains even, right? You got like JetBrains annotations. You got Kotlin, right? Just like Kotlin. You got Kotlin Compose thingy thing, whatever the UI framework thing. You got all of the JetBrains IDs. I mean, these could be used for any of those realistically. But I suppose it's hard to say exactly what these are for. Or it just could be for like really niche things, right? Like this is for IDE, which is like that one build tool that everyone's heard of and no one knows what it's for. So I suppose, you know, it could be for any of these. But regardless, I don't think we need any of this, to be honest. At least not for the foreseeable future. But we are going to need a settings plugin. It's just a matter of like, what is that plugin gonna do? I would say it's probably hard to say without creating it. So, I mean, we're about to kind of run out of time here. So I'm going to try and quickly create something so we can at least see what it does. Plugin. This implements plugin of type setting, which I think is this one. So what does target provide us with is what I'm curious about. Not a huge amount. Not a huge amount. So we have the plugins here. Do we have, like, what do we actually, like, do these plugins give us anything different? No. I mean, theoretically, right, we could expose this apply method, right, to be able to, like, apply a plugin by an ID. We could expose that as, like, a thing, right, which means that we could directly in the code just apply a plugin, which would be great, actually. So maybe that's the kind of thing we would do, rather than having to write, you know, all these scripts or whatnot. I mean, you got things like a dependency resolution management. Like, I don't know if we can get anything from that. Kind of. Like, I don't know, there's things in here which are maybe probably useful. Like here you've got get repositories, which obviously allows you to get the repositories. You've got Google, Gradle plugin portal, Maven Central, Maven Local. I don't know what you can get from these. I mean, I imagine these kind of things are probably extremely useful in just like things. I mean, I don't know what they're useful for, but I imagine they are useful, right? What else? Build cache. You can get the build cache. Once again, not entirely sure why you would use that. Maybe if you wanted a button that cleared the build cache, right? I think IntelliJ has that. I think when you invalidate your caches, I think this one clears the build cache. I think. Not 100% sure. But like maybe, I mean, you got Gradle here. I don't know what that's used for. Like the Gradle version. Oh, this is actually quite useful. Getting the home directory. Do we have that in here? I think we actually have that in here. Yeah, we do. I should probably be using that, to be honest. Like that might actually be quite useful to expose that in here. But like that's interesting. You got the plugin manager, which is different from plugin container apparently, even though it does seem to just be a less useful plugin container. So that exists for whatever reason. You have settings, of course, but that is just this, isn't it? Or what does is it giving me any kind of... Oh, I see. So it reckons I should use this. And then... This is what ChatGPT says. I don't know if this is correct or not, but it says to do this. And then... do this. Details. So basically what this would let you do, and in fact this is correct actually, now that I look at this, because if we go back to Railroad real quick, and we are going to end very soon, but this is exactly what we're doing actually. So getting the plugin management, then getting the resolution strategy for each plugin, if the details.requested.id is equal fabric loom. So if we look at that real quick, if the details dot get requested dot id dot equals fabric loom, right? So if that, then we can probably just replicate what Railroad does, which is captured loom version. Kind of not, actually. Possibly? If we did, if we did, because we need the project, basically. So, like, maybe what I would do is I would hold that in here, right? So, real quick, if I look at, so this just sets a captured loom version, so details.requested.version, right? Which I assume is a string. I look at get requested. What else is in details, by the way? Get target. Interesting. Interesting. What is this? Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. If I do get version, that gets me a string, right? So if I had like a static final string loom version is equal null, and then I said in here loom version is equal that. Oh, I can't make it final, right? Right, but then that means that in here I could access that, right? Oh, I'm also not calling register tasks. Oops. So those actually wouldn't have worked. Good job I noticed that. But anyways, that means that in here I could access that. So I could say railroad settings plugin .loom version, right? And I could just like pass that into here, for example. So then I would have string loom version, and I could just pass that down. So I could pass that into here. So I could say this .loom version, right? That could then take in string loom version, and then basically has loom version would instead be loom version is not equal to null, right? I'm gonna call this plugin loom version, maybe, and then yeah, basically then that would just be just not requiring on null loom version, plugin loom version. String is, yeah, I agree, redundant, which would be much easier. So that kind of thing actually would be very useful. Assuming that works. I mean, I don't know if you can access the settings plugin from the project plugin. I assume probably. I also kind of want to rename this actually to project plugin, so it's a little more explicit. And if I quickly just fix that in the build.gradle, project plugin. So what did Codex say I have to do? Okay. Yeah, so I'd have to then make a railroad settings. Yeah, which would basically be that. Railroad Gradle settings. No, that's fine. Well, wait, is that right? Railroad Gradle plugin settings or whatever. Right, so something like that. You know, if I then bump that to 1.2.0, make sure we build it first, just to make sure all compiles and stuff. Give it a second. Okay, and then if we reload, just to make sure that's all fine, and then if we publish, publish, okay, and if we go in here, we can now get rid of that. Doesn't need to exist anymore. Boom. So that's good. Now I'm quickly going to commit everything to GitHub, and then yeah, and then we'll end off there. So that's all fine. That's all fine. That's all fine. Okay. Just go ahead, copilot that. Probably have to do a similar thing with Forge as well at some point. And once again, NeoForge as well, but that's fine. I'm quickly just going to bump the version in here before I forget. Look at that. Because otherwise I will forget. And then yeah, that's it. So I am going to go ahead and end the stream here. I will be live again tomorrow, but it may be earlier. Yeah, it will probably be earlier tomorrow, maybe 6. We'll see. I'm not sure exactly. Either that or it will be a short stream. Because I have to go to bed early, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. So I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye. Why is my camera on top of here? Hello? Okay. Bye bye.